Universal basic income. You've probably heard the term, right? And let's be real, it can be a pretty polarizing topic. But today, we're going to dig into why our whole view of UBI might actually be based on a huge historical misunderstanding.
So what if we've been looking at this whole thing backwards? What if the goal of UBI isn't about creating dependency, but about the total opposite? What if it's really about independence and sparking innovation?
Okay, let's just get it out there. This is the image most of us have in our heads, right? The idea of a permanent government check showing up, paying people to just sit on the couch. And that, right there, is the central myth we're going to pull apart today. But what happens if we reframe the whole debate around this one simple idea? See, the argument here isn't that UBI makes people dependent, it's that it makes them fearless. It's about giving people the freedom to take a shot, to create, to experiment, and to build something new. Now, to really understand why so many of us see UBI as just another handout, we've got to look at where these ideas came from. The way we think about government support today was really forged in a totally different time for a totally different reason. And it all starts right here with Social Security. I mean, think about it. Born from the absolute devastation of the Great Depression, its goal was nothing short of revolutionary. It was designed to take away the terror of growing old with nothing. For the very first time, basic survival became a shared responsibility, not just your own personal struggle. And that single idea just kept growing. You can see how each generation kind of built on the last one. We went from seeing survival as a right, to health as a right, and then to basic stability as a right. And these programs didn't just change our economy, they changed how we think. We started to expect a certain level of collective security. And that history, that mindset, brings us to the core argument of this whole thing. The philosophy behind UBI is a massive shift away from that past. It's not about trying to build a better safety net, it's about building a launchpad.
This chart just breaks that shift down perfectly. Think about it. A safety net is purely defensive. It catches you after you've already fallen, after you've lost your job, gotten sick. A launchpad, on the other hand, is offensive. It gives you the stability to go out and take a risk, to start that business or get that training before you ever hit a crisis. It's the difference between protecting you from loss and giving you the liberation to actually build.
So here's the crucial point. America was built by people who took risks. But let's face it, between student debt and the crazy cost of living, a lot of people are just trapped in survival mode. The whole case for UBI is that it restores that courage to try, fail, and get back up again, which, is the very engine of an innovative economy. Okay, but this isn't just some abstract theory, right? UBI has actually been tested out in the real world. And what's wild is that the results from these pilot programs are incredibly consistent. So let's take a look. First up, Finland. For 2 years, they gave 2,000 unemployed citizens about $630 a month. And the key part? No strings attached. You can bet the whole world was watching to see what would happen next. And the results were fascinating. The people who got the money reported way less stress and just a higher sense of well-being. But here's the kicker. Far from quitting work, they were actually a little bit more likely to find a job than the people who didn't get the money. The huge takeaway here? The money made people stable, not lazy. And then we had an American trial right in Stockton, California, that saw even more dramatic results. In this one, 125 residents in low-income neighborhoods got $500 a month for 2 years. And the impact on jobs was just staggering. I mean, look at this. After only 1 year, the rate of full-time employment among the people getting the money jumped by 12%. That is a huge leap that completely flies in the face of that check for doing nothing myth. And it wasn't just about employment. Mental health got a major boost, sharp drops in anxiety and depression. Plus, because people were spending that money on groceries and car repairs at local shops, it acted like a direct stimulus for the community. It wasn't a drain on the economy, it was fuel. And you see this same pattern almost everywhere it's tried. A trial way back in the 70s in Manitoba, Canada, led to better health and education. And ongoing experiments in Kenya have seen a boom in new businesses and even a drop in violence. The theme is always the same. UBI creates agency. It lets people take control. So, what would this actually look like if we did it on a national scale here in the US? Let's check out how these ideas are shaping the proposals we see today. Most of the serious plans you see suggest a monthly payment somewhere in this range.
Now, that's obviously not enough to go live a life of luxury, but it is enough to cover the basics. Food, gas for the car, utilities. The idea is that it's a floor, not a ceiling.
This quote from Andrew Yang really captures the modern argument for UBI. The thinking is, as automation and AI start producing more and more of our economic value, the very nature of work is going to change. UBI is proposed as a way to kind of modernize capitalism for this new era, to make sure every citizen gets a piece of that technological progress.
So let's bring this all back home. When you stop thinking of UBI as a safety net and start seeing it as a launch pad, it stops looking like some radical handout, and it actually starts to look a lot more like a return to a core American idea.
The reason so many of us get this concept wrong is pretty simple, actually. For almost 100 years, we've been taught to connect government payments with protection, with what happens after something goes wrong. Our own history has conditioned us to see it as just another kind of welfare.
But the philosophy is completely different. A traditional safety net is about the government taking care of you when you can't work. UBI is about empowering you so that you can. It's about trusting people to make the best decisions for themselves.
And really, this is the argument in its purest form. It's not about paying people to be idle. It's about making sure that poverty doesn't have the power to crush someone's potential. It's about creating a society where every single person has the basic stability they need to go chase their version of the American dream.
So we'll end on this question. Is universal basic income actually not a step toward dependency, but maybe a modern evolution of independence? A tool to make sure that in this automated, incredibly fast-changing world we live in, freedom means having not just the permission to act, but the real capacity to do it.